Do you have a hard time remembering natural English expressions? Do you often forget to use the small words like a, the, in, on, to, and so on when you speak English? Are you looking for a way to use common expressions and idioms in your everyday conversation? Well, keep watching and I'll show you an easy way to practice and remember English expressions and idioms. I call it the first letter method. Actually, I just made that up. But seriously, I developed this method of studying and remembering expressions for myself when I study Japanese. Maybe it'll help you too. By the way, this is Tag Along in English, and my name is Susan. Okay, let's get started. In today's video, I'll help you with two main ideas. Number one, I'll explain the first letter method for remembering English expressions and idioms. Number two, after you've learned some of the expressions using the first letter method, I'll help you to use these expressions in different ways in everyday conversations. Okay, number one, let's explain the first letter method. First, we need some sentences in English about a topic that you are interested in. You can write the sentences yourself, or you can just copy something from a book, a magazine, or the internet. You could even use some sentences from a movie or a TV show. The most important thing is to find some sentences with expressions that you actually want to use in everyday conversation. It's also best if the sentences are connected and not just about random, unrelated things. The brain works best when it's making connections. For today's example, let's use these sentences I wrote about an experience I had yesterday, and it had to do with my favorite leather gloves. I wrote 11 sentences. First, let's read them aloud. Yesterday, I was out and about doing some shopping. 2. It was a gorgeous sunny day, and I was in a great mood. 3. I decided to stop in at my favorite local cafe to get a bite of lunch. 4. I had a panini sandwich and a cup of tea. 5. After I left the cafe, I did some more shopping and then headed home. 6. When I got home, I realized that I'd lost my favorite leather gloves. 7. They were a present from my mom. 8. I figured I must have left them at the cafe, so I gave them a quick call to check. 9. Luckily, the server told me that she had found them at my table. 10. As you can imagine, I was very happy. 11. I'll drop by the cafe today to pick them up. So read your sentences aloud a few times until you feel comfortable. And remember, the important thing about speaking English is not being able to read perfectly, but be able to speak when you go out and talk to people. The next step is to rewrite the sentences, but only using the first letter of every word. I'm going to show you how I do that. Just so you know, I've written out all of the 11 sentences for you in the description below, and I've also included all of the same 11 sentences with just the first letters, so you can check the references in the description below. So now I want to use all of the sentences that I have and rewrite them, but I want to only use the first letter. So here we go. Number 1. Y, comma, I, W, O, and in this case I write the whole word and below to help me. A for about, comma, D, S, and then for shopping I write SH to help me remember. Number 2. I want to remember the small little words and I'm going to write them below the others. I, W, little a below, G, S, D, I write and, I, W, and then in I write A, G, M. Continue until you have done this for all 11 of the sentences. Sometimes I write a letter with the number above to help me to remember how many syllables are in that word. So for example, the 3 is above decided, 3 syllables. And so I continue writing the first letter of each of the words and writing the small words down below. As you can see, I've written out all the first letters of the words in each sentence. And here are my original sentences. It's kind of like a secret code. Now, try covering the original and try to remember the sentences that you have. So number 1, yesterday I was out and about doing some shopping. I don't remember this one, so I look. It was a gorgeous sunny day and I was in a great mood. Now cover it. It was a gorgeous sunny day and I was in a great mood. It was a gorgeous sunny day and I was in a great mood. I know that this is 3 syllables. I decided to stop in at my favorite local cafe to, I forget this part. Let's go down to number 3. Oh, get a bite of lunch. Okay, cover it. I decided to stop in at my favorite local cafe to get a bite of lunch. And so on. Continue practicing all the way through these. And if you forget, look at it, read it, and then cover it again. Practice saying these sentences aloud a few times a day. It should only take you 2 or 3 minutes. Yesterday, I was out and about doing some shopping. It was a gorgeous sunny day and I was in a good mood. As you can imagine, I was very happy. I'll drop by the cafe tomorrow to pick them up. The first letter method is a good way of remembering groups of words together. Okay, the second part of this method is now to take some of the expressions and groups of words, the idioms, from these sentences that you have in your mind now and try and use them in different and new sentences. Let me show you how to do that. Let's look for some of the expressions that are super useful for us in other ways. So, for example, yesterday I was out and about doing some shopping. Out and about is a good expression, words that go together, and I can use those in different ways. It was a gorgeous sunny day and I was in a great mood. In a great mood. I decided to stop in at. That's a good expression. As you can imagine, I use that sentence or that expression all the time. So I highlighted the expressions I'm most interested in learning. I'll use 2 examples to demonstrate the next step. Let's pick number 3. I decided to stop in at. And let's choose number 10. As you can imagine. So the sentence from my original script was, I decided to stop in at my favorite local cafe. Now let's use the same expression to talk about the library. How about, I decided to stop in at the library to get a new book. Let's use the first letter method so that I'm speaking and not just reading. The first letters help me to remember the expression, I decided to stop in at. So now I can say, I decided to stop in at my favorite local cafe. I decided to stop in at the library to get a new book. Let's use the same expression to talk about the supermarket. My sentence is, I decided to stop in at the supermarket to pick up some milk. So let's try and see if we can remember that. I decided to stop in at the supermarket to get some milk. The next example is, as you can imagine, I was very happy. Now let's write the first letters above the expression. A, Y, C, I, as you can imagine, and cover the sentence. Here's my example. On the weekend, we went to a music festival. As you can imagine, it was very crowded. So you can try making the sentence. On the weekend, I went to a music festival. As you can imagine, it was very crowded. Let's try another example. My friend is getting a kitten next week. As you can imagine, she is super excited. So let's cover it up. My friend is getting a kitten next week. As you can imagine, she is very excited. So, by using the first letter method, you can remember whole phrases. You want these expressions and idioms, groups of words that go together, to become automatic. So you don't have to think too hard about these expressions before you use them. This method has really helped my fluency in Japanese because I don't have to stop and remember individual words. I have chunks memorized and I can use them spontaneously when I speak. I think the same will be true for you when you speak English. So to summarize, you started with a group of sentences about one topic or theme. You rewrote each sentence just using the first letter of each word. And then you practice saying the sentences aloud just using the first letter method. If you needed a little help, you could check back and look at your original sentences, but mostly you practiced just using the first letter to try to remind you. So, what do you think about this method? I challenge you to use some of today's expressions and make your own sentences. Please write your sentences in the comments so I can have a look. Thanks for watching today's video, and if you like this one, there might be some others in the Tag Along in English series that you might find enjoyable. Tag Along in English is my fun English teaching project, and it's a good place to learn natural idioms and expressions. From time to time, I'll also share some English learning tips. Feel free to subscribe to my channel or share these videos, but only if you want to. No pressure. Thanks again for watching and see you next time.